All right, let's dive into something where, honestly, every single word counts, testifying at your Social Security disability hearing. Look, this isn't just some casual chat. This is the moment. It can literally make or break your entire case. So let's get you ready.
Now take a look at this. A claimant can be their own worst enemy during testimony. Wow, that's pretty blunt, right? But it points to a really frustrating truth. You, the person who's in this situation and needs the help, can accidentally become your own worst enemy. The things you say, and just as important, the way you say them, that can be the difference between getting approved and getting denied.
So, what is going on here? Why is it so easy to mess up? Well, it all comes down to something called the logic gap. Think about it. There's your reality, the day in, day out struggle with your disability, and then there's the judge's world, which is all about cold, hard legal rules. They're like two different languages. And in this explainer, we're going to teach you how to be the translator, how to bridge that gap. So, how do we bridge that gap? You need a North Star, a single, powerful mission that guides every single word that comes out of your mouth. Forget trying to tell them your entire life story. You just need to focus on this one thing.
And this is it. This is your one and only goal: to prove that you cannot sustain full-time work. That's it. Every single answer, every story, every little detail has to point right back to that. And what does sustain mean? It means 8 hours a day, 5 days a week in and week out. If what you're saying doesn't help prove that, it's not just useless, it's actively hurting you.
Okay, so we've got our mission, but how do we actually pull it off? Well, think of it like this. You need some rules of engagement. These are the 3 pillars that are going to hold up your entire testimony and keep you totally laser-focused on that mission we just talked about. So here they are. First, the sustained basis rule. Second, the daytime requirement rule. And third, something you absolutely have to avoid, the weather and variable trap. Getting these 3 down, that's the whole ballgame. Let's jump into rule number 1. All right, rule 1, sustained basis. This is huge. When a judge asks, can you wash dishes? What you hear is a simple question. But what they're really asking is, could you work an 8-hour shift as a dishwasher? So if you just say yes, oh man, that's a disaster. The mission-focused answer connects it right back to work. Yeah, I can do a few plates, but then I'm out of commission for 20 minutes. There's no way I could do that for a whole shift. Next up, Rule 2, the daytime requirement rule. This one is all about context. The things you do to manage your condition, they only matter to the judge if they would get you in trouble at a normal 9-to-5 job. So telling them you prop your feet up at night while you're watching TV, totally irrelevant. A judge does not care. But telling them, I have to prop my feet up for 30 minutes 3 times during the day to stop the swelling, now that's something an employer won't put up with. See the difference? Okay, Rule 3. And this is a big one, the weather and variable trap. It's so tempting to say things like, well, it depends, because you're trying to be honest, right? But listen, when a judge hears it depends on the weather, they translate that to, great, on good weather days, you can work. Boom, you just lost. You cannot be vague. You have to give them the hard numbers, the average reality. Don't say it depends. Say, on average, I have 4 days a week where the pain is so bad I can't even leave my house. That's concrete. That's powerful. So, we've gone over the playbook for what you should be doing. Now, let's flip it. Let's talk about what you absolutely should not do. These are the claim killers. These innocent-sounding little phrases that can completely torpedo your case before you even know what happened. Okay, let's break this down because this is so important. Look at the first one. You say, I do a little DoorDash on my bike. You're thinking, I'm just trying to make ends meet. But the judge hears, I have the physical and mental stamina to work. The right way to say it, I tried to do some food delivery, but I had to quit after just 30 minutes because of the pain. See how that frames it as a failed attempt at working? Same thing with Facebook. You say, I spend all day on Facebook. The judge hears, great, you can sit and concentrate for a desk job. You have to add the limitation. I can only look at a screen for about 10 minutes before my neck pain gets unbearable. And then there are the traps that just destroy your credibility. First, the bicycle trap. This is a classic. You tell the judge you can't stand for more than 10 minutes, but then later you mention you ride a bike to do deliveries. In the judge's mind, you just contradicted yourself. Credibility, gone. And here's another word to be super careful with, help. You say, oh, I help my daughter watch the grandkids, or I help my neighbor with his lawn. The judge doesn't hear help. They hear unpaid labor. They hear proof that you can work. Okay, let's get to what might be the single most important part of all this,
To win your case, you have to understand the person sitting across from you. You have to get inside the judge's mindset. And I'm telling you, their job is probably not what you think it is.
Let's get one thing straight right now. The judge is not your friend. They're not your doctor. They're not your therapist. They might be perfectly nice. They might seem sympathetic, but that is not their role. Their job isn't to feel sorry for you. Their job is to apply the law. Walking in there looking for pity is a surefire way to lose. You have to provide proof, not ask for sympathy.
So, what is their role then, honestly? Think of the judge as a person holding a stopwatch and a calculator. That's it. You tell them you need a 15-minute break every hour to lie down, they start the stopwatch. You tell them you're off task 20% of the day because of pain, they pull out the calculator. They are just doing the math to see if your limitations would prevent you from completing a 40-hour work week. It is a cold, hard calculation.
Which brings us to the single best way to test every answer before you give it. It's the ultimate gut check. Just ask yourself this one question. Does my answer explain why I'd be fired by Wednesday of my first week on the job? Seriously, if what you're saying doesn't make it crystal clear that a boss would fire you for being too slow, taking too many breaks, or missing too much time, then you are losing the mission.
So there you have it. The mission is clear, the rules are laid out, and you know what traps to avoid. Remember, this isn't about being the person the judge feels most sorry for. It's about being the most credible, consistent, and mission-focused witness in that room. The only question left is, are you ready to prove your case?